Okay, so more about intervening with potential mass shootings. So I mentioned a little bit ago about talking to people and finding maybe that they might have an event of loss and having a negative reaction and asking the question directly about are you thinking about killing yourself or are you thinking about killing someone else? And then I mentioned actually talking to people, and that's where I want to pick up is going to the depths with them, hearing their story. So let's learn how to active listen. And what I mean by active listening is when people are talking, instead of just correcting people and telling them what to think and saying, well, you're wrong, you shouldn't be doing this. And don't get me wrong, I get it. People are wrong and they shouldn't be doing these things. But a wiser approach is to ask questions and to continue their story. So what happened next, or how did you feel about that, or what caused this, right? Or why were you thinking this, or maybe some paraphrasing techniques such as, so what you're saying is, and paraphrase what they say back to them. And body language is important, right? Emotion is important, to have the correct emotion. It's not corrective; it's actually caring and listening. So actually, going to the depths of despair with the person for the moment and listening to their story, because again, they really want to be heard. Now, in both suicide intervention and with this idea of intervening with people that are maybe pondering killing people, after we hear this story, basically, that they're telling us, or not really after, maybe during, we should be trying to pick up on life. And what I mean by that is when they tell you things that they get emotional about, we should be trying to figure out a reason for them to not do what they're wanting to do. So if it's suicide, giving them a reason to live, right? And if it's homicide, a reason for them to not do what they're doing, something life sustaining, to get them to hold on. So what I don't mean is, hey, well, what about your kids? Or man, what about your parents? What would they think? It's not so much suggesting reasons for them to live or reasons for them to not engage in violent behavior. It's listening for their own reasons. So follow me on this. Instead of simply suggesting reasons for them to act with the appropriate behavior, we're listening for them to give us reasons. So if it's suicide, a person might tell you about their sister or brother or about a future event they're looking forward to. And you pick up on that. And then you ask questions like, so how does your suicide affect that? Right? And if we're talking a shooting, well, so would you be able to do those things you've talked about if you killed people and were sent to prison, or if you were even received capital punishment? I mean, or if you had to go in hiding, or whatever the result may be, would your actions hurt your future plans, or would it hurt what you love? Asking them questions about what they tell you, not planting new ideas in their head. And if you find something that makes them want to live, or makes them want to do the right things, or makes them want to not shoot people, then you hang on to that and you press forward and you try to see if you can find some agreement to move forward and get help. Because keep in mind, if someone's not killed anybody and they're not going to, they can get help without any legal issues. If you can say, look, I'm not going to lie, I have some issues that are making me feel violent and I need help, then you can get help. So that's the next thing I'm going to want to talk about, is if we find an agreement that we want to work on life, we want to work on health, then we go get them help, right? Like I said in the last video, we're not going to just simply say, oh, you're thinking about killing people, let's go get you help, let's go pass you on to the next person, because we already know that in this most recent shooting, this guy was already on an FBI watch list. He had already been identified, right? So, getting help doesn't always work, but listening to people is a lot better than just passing people on. So again, we're going to listen, and we're going to figure out an agreement based upon life to try to get them help. And don't get me wrong, if they won't agree, then it might be time, depending on the situation, to forcibly get them some help. We'll talk about that next.